Woke up and I was having some like chest pain. I'd had some other symptoms for like a little while, but I just didn't really think anything of it. I went to a couple of different doctors actually, and they didn't think it was anything either. So I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. So then one day I woke up and like my chest was swollen like 2 or 3 inches out, and I was like, okay, this is a little weird, right? So I went to emergency and the doctor was like, let's get you in for chest x-rays. And I was just like, okay, well, we did the chest x-rays. I was waiting in the room, and then he called me and my mother were there, and he called us in, and he was like, you know, I have some concerns about the results of your x-ray. My main concern is lymphoma. And I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, what the hell is lymphoma, right? Like, I didn't even know what it was. So he's like, just didn't really think twice about answering my question. He just kind of bluntly said, cancer. And I was like, all right, thanks, doc. Anyways, the long and short of it was I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 3B, which is one away from stage 4, which is the worst it could possibly be. But basically, the doctor came in the room. He gave me all the options. He said, there are certain side effects that could come into play 20 years from now, like lung cancer, other types of cancer, leukemia, la-di-da. He's like, but we can't not do the treatment now and then risk you dying in a year from this. So it's like pretty harsh to hear, but I mean, you just got to do what you got to do, right? The prognosis for my cancer is pretty good, luckily. I mean, it's like 75% chance that you're going to beat it, but there's also that, percentage that doesn't beat it. I'm just lucky that, they have enough research and funding behind this specific cancer for reasons I don't even know, but they just happen to have that, and luckily everything went okay. So it's like almost 3 years out now, and everything's going good.
I guess what was your mindset during treatment?
Oh, like just from the initial stages of being diagnosed, you never know what's going on with cancer. Like there's so many different variables like to it. You just never know what's going to happen, right? Like when you first hear that you have cancer, it's like beyond, this shock isn't even the word to describe it. You're just like, you're kind of in like a twilight zone for I don't even know how long, you don't even know what's going on. You're just like, okay, right? I got to do this, got to do that, pretty much. And yeah, as time progresses, you go through stages in cancer. It's like it's down to a science of the emotions that you feel. But you go through denial, and at some points you start going crazy a little bit too. It's definitely a journey, that's for sure.
Were you bedridden?
No,
Still up and around?
I was up and around. I was definitely up and around, but it took a toll on my body, but it took more of a toll on me mentally, just because, I had a lot of side effects and I didn't know what was going on, and the doctors didn't even know what was going on. Like I said, I had a liver and spleen enlargement, and I kind of told my doctors that I was like, I think my liver and my spleen are enlarged, and they're like, no, and I'm like, yeah, like I could feel it. And then they did x-rays and ultrasounds and CT scans, and they were both enlarged. And they didn't know what was going on because that doesn't ever happen. So like in my mind, I was thinking the cancer spread there, so I was freaking out. It's hard not to freak out when stuff like that's happening because you really don't know what's going on inside your body. And then when the doctors don't know what's going on either, it makes it twice as hard because you're just, it's like, everything's so uncertain, and just, it took a toll on myself and my parents as well. But I mean, we came out of it, and I guess we're stronger than ever now. Well, I had a lot of strong people around me too, encouraging me. But I guess knowing that I had something to fight for, like obviously your life is the most important thing you always want to fight for, but I just had so many things that weren't finished in my life. That's what I kept thinking about. But I mean, just really love and support from family, and then just knowing that I had to be strong for them as well. It just gets you through everything.
So you're recovered now?
Yeah, it's been 3 years since the treatment. So
Have you been back to the doctor and saying, hey, thanks, doc?
Oh yeah, we have to like we go by for regular checkups. We go. I think I moved up to every 6 months now, right? Like out of treatment, you start with every 3 months. Then a year after that, they move it to every 4 months, and then you get every 6 months, and then after that, it's a year up until 5 years. So basically with my cancer, it's after 2 years, you can pretty much like it's like a 95% chance that it's not going to come back, and after 5 years, it's not going to pretty much like 99.9% that it's not going to come back. You can't ever guarantee anything in the medical field, or so they say. So.
Let's talk about your music a bit.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll start from the beginning. I mean, I've always been involved in music. I mean, my father's a musician, and he's been involved in it since I can remember, since before I was alive. So I guess that's where I got my love of it for. I was always involved in school plays. I was always the lead role. I don't know. I just developed like a love for that kind of stuff. And I guess through my teenage years, I kind of backed away from it. I don't really know why, but as soon as I turned around 20 years old, I started pursuing it again, and I was just doing it locally here. And I got an opportunity to like go out to Vegas and work with a lot of people that you normally wouldn't have a chance to work with. I went from Toronto to living in Vegas, working with guys like, Scott Storch, who's probably one of the biggest hip hop producers ever. Working with Pooh Bear, who basically co-wrote all of Justin Bieber's recent music. And this was before he started working with Justin. I was working with like Tyga, Kendrick Lamar. It was just like a whirlwind thing and then I got sick. So it kind of just stopped everything like in its tracks and just screwed up a whole bunch of things. And, I had such momentum that was built up. I had a song on the top 20 on the radio, and then I just got sick and I had to kind of stop everything because I couldn't do anything anymore, right? It was just kind of like, okay, so just put a wrench in everything. But that's what I meant about, having the unfinished business. I had to come back and do it again. So, that's what this is all about. My next release is called Round 2, which is kind of fitting for what's going on now because it's round 2. But yeah, just totally switching up my style and my direction, trying to be more positive because I have just a different outlook on life. And we got a few good feature producers on this. Like we're working with Boy Wonder So, he's a good guy. He's actually a personal friend of mine. So there's those connections, and then we still have our connections in the States. But yeah, we're trying to do it slowly, one step at a time. But I also have other focuses now too, right? Because there's a lot more to life than, I guess, being famous. I kind of want to give back too now. So
Do you think that's the biggest change in your mindset? There's more to it than the money and the fame.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's just totally flipped my mindset like on life, period. I am a different person now. So I think my music is going to reflect that too.
You think you're stronger for it?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely stronger. It's kind of a curse and a blessing, really, because, when I got sick, I was 26, and you don't really think at 26 years old that you're going to have your eyes open to what the world really is and what it's really supposed to be, but that's what happened. So now I just look at it from new eyes, pretty much.
So you're the first brand ambassador with PHYTA.
Uh-huh.
Knowing what that brand represents, what do you have to say to other people who are looking at this on the street and saying, oh, what's that? What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, first of all, the name itself, PHYTA, is, it's kind of what I had to become, when I got diagnosed with cancer. You have to become a fighter right away. Your only option is to succeed, to win, right? You don't have any other option. So just the name in itself is something that resonates with me, but then like what it stands for, power, heart, youth, talent, attitude, it's basically aimed at anyone who has a challenge in life, or anything that they've ever had to overcome. You know, people that are strong-willed and don't give up, and don't let adversity, you know, kind of beat them. You know, it's a strong word, and it's a strong brand, and the people that stand behind it are good, strong people. And you know, Leroy's a very good friend of mine, and he's always been there for us when we needed him. And to me, he's the king PHYTA, just because I know what he's been through. So to me, he's the OG of all this stuff. And yeah, man. I'm Frank Anthony, and I'm a PHYTA.